seeing somebody who looks 30 in the position of lying to this grieving family comes across as manipulative, whereas seeing somebody who looks 17 do that looks like a mistake. I am agog. I am aghast. Has the Dear Evan Hansen film become a reality at last? We've got something to discuss, my friends. The Dear Evan Hansen movie has finally been cast. Apparently it's just started filming. I wasn't gonna talk about this, and then I just had loads of messages asking me if I would, and I was like, do you know what? Why not? I was gonna be doing a crazy ex-girlfriend video today, but here we are instead. Let's just get started. So I'm gonna share my opinions on the casting of the Dear Evan Hansen movie because people seem to have a lot of opinions on it. I mean, people have got a lot of opinions on everything with casting these days. Do you know what I mean? I don't feel like there's ever a casting for anything where someone's not angry. So I thought I'd throw my hat into the ring and share my thoughts. So for those of you who don't know me, by the way, my name is Amy. I make a lot of theatre content here on YouTube. So I talk a lot about Broadway and musicals and Glee and Star Kid and Smash and all that kind of fun stuff. If you do like that kind of thing, then please do subscribe. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter as well at AmyLovatt_. And I also have got one limited edition merch item that is out at the moment. It's a little pin badge that says Theatre Trash because deep down we are all theatre trash. There'll be a link to it down below. There's less than 100 left and after that they won't be available again. So if you do want one, then I would suggest getting one. But there's no pressure either. If you think they're awful, that's fine. I think first I might just talk generally about the idea of a Dear Evan Hansen movie. So I feel like movie musicals, you know, they're really trying to keep them going, and my biggest shock, I'll be honest, is that James Corden hasn't been cast in this one because isn't he cast in all movie musicals? You're gonna do a movie musical in Hollywood, you'd better cast James Corden. I mean, nothing against him, but the bugger's in everything, isn't he? I really hope it's done well. I think with contemporary music in movie musicals, there can be something kind of cringe about them. I don't know why. Like, when I think about movie musicals in the last few years that I've enjoyed and haven't enjoyed, it's to do with the way that the music fits into the scenes on screen. Like, for example, The Greatest Showman. It has its faults, but I thought it worked very well. The music matches the scenes and it's all kind of over the top anyway. It's all very stagey anyway. And then I think about The Last 5 Years. I love The Last 5 Years movie, and it's great because it's all sung through. So there's tiny little bits of spoken dialogue, but the majority of it is sung through, so there's not that awkward, I'm about to break out a little pop number. But then I think about like Freaky Friday, which is a musical that I love. I adore the music for Freaky Friday, but I just can't watch the film. When they break into song, there is something with the blending of the music to the scene that sounds overproduced. It sounds like, why are these people breaking into song? And I'm a theatre fan. Like, I understand people breaking into song, but there's something about it in films and TV and on screen, if it's not done right, it can just come across so cringy. So I hope with everything in my heart that it isn't cringy. It's directed by the same director as Perks of Being a Wallflower, which is quite like an aesthetic, vibey film. So hopefully it will have that same kind of thing going on and the music will blend in nicely. I'm hoping so. So that's my initial thoughts on the film. I know a lot of people are like, why don't they just do a pro shot? I think it's quite nice that there will be a film of something because I love a pro shot, I really do, but I also like a film of something. Sometimes I want to watch a musical film and I don't necessarily want to watch a stage production, if that makes sense. You know, it's a completely different art form, really. I quite like to keep the two separate. I'm quite happy that they're doing a film of it. Okay, let's look at the cast list. I'm gonna like just read out the cast list and then talk about the various topics because the biggest issues that people seem to have with the casting is the diversity and the age. Okay, so Amy Adams was announced as playing Cynthia Murphy. I really wanted her to play Heidi, who is Evan's mum. I love Amy Adams in Sunshine Cleaning, where she basically plays this like single mum. She's not really doing the best for herself, and I think that she plays this kind of lost soul, struggling parent really well. That might sound really weird. I mean, maybe I've not really seen her in something like a Cynthia Murphy vibe. I love Amy Adams's voice as well. Obviously she did Enchanted, she was in the Muppets film, but she used to do like dinner theatre, so like in restaurants and stuff when she was starting her acting career. So I think it's quite an exciting thing as well. Amanda Stenberg is playing... Oh! Shit. So Amanda Stenberg is playing Alana. I've only seen her in the Hunger Games, so I've not seen her since she was like very young, so I don't know what she's like performing, but Alana's one of my favorite characters. I actually relate a lot to Alana, especially like young school me, so I'm quite excited. So Caitlin Dever is playing Zoe Murphy. I think she's amazing. I adore her in Unbelievable and also in Booksmart. I think she's an amazing actress. I haven't heard her sing. Yeah, I think she's a great actress, so that's exciting. We've got Nick Dodani as Jared. So I have seen Atypical, but not in, I've only seen the first season. It was a few years ago, so I don't particularly remember him, but I'm glad that we've got a person of colour playing Jared, but I will get to diversity. So yeah, excited about him. We've got Colton Ryan playing Connor. So Colton was in the original cast of Dear Evan Hansen. He played the understudy for Ben as Evan and also covered the roles of Jared and Connor as well. So I like that we have a Broadway man. I haven't actually heard him sing anything either. Apparently he's great. And then we do have Ben Platt, the main man himself. So I don't need to tell you who he is. He obviously originated the role of Evan, and it's very exciting that he's coming back. I mean, he won a Tony for the role. I mean, he'd done bits before. He was in the Pitch Perfect film and he did Book of Mormon, but Evan Hansen was what really kind of skyrocketed his career. So that's exciting. I'm not surprised at all that Ben Platt has been cast as Evan. As I say, he originated the role. He got a Tony. Everybody who has ever seen him in the show said it was like the most incredible performance ever. His dad's a producer. And I'm not saying he only got it because his dad's a producer, but do you know what I mean? It just all adds up. So I'm not even slightly surprised that he has been cast as Evan. So now let's talk about the issues.
The issue on the table.
So let's talk first about the stepdad. Apparently Larry Murphy is now a stepdad. So does that mean that they're gonna cut to Breaking a Glove? I used to hate the song. It's kind of grown on me, but I think it's a really sweet moment of the show. And also, I don't know, I think it will really change things up. Like personally for me, I think the stepdad not getting along with the teenage children of his new wife or his new girlfriend or whatever is such a kind of overdone, overworked trope that we're so used to seeing in films and in storylines. And I think it's actually really interesting to see the relationship between a biological parent and child and the struggles that Connor and his dad are facing, and then the parallel of that to Evan, who doesn't have a father figure in his life at the time. I don't know, I mean, apparently he is now a stepdad. I think it's a shame, but also we'll see what is done with it, you know? At the end of the day, you can't really judge anything before you've seen it. So I've seen a lot of people very angry at the fact that Amy Adams has been cast, and apparently Kate Winslet is rumoured to be playing Heidi Hansen. People seem like angry about it because they haven't cast Broadway actors. But in all fairness, they have. I mean, Ben Platt is a Broadway guy. Colton is also Broadway. The thing is as well, I remember when the prom came out and people were saying, you know, what do you think about the fact that they haven't got the original Broadway cast in the show? And the thing is that, yes, I do think that people who, especially people who have kind of nurtured and created these characters from the labs and from the workshops and things, I do think it's sad that they're not given the opportunity to transfer the character onto the screen. However, we're always trying to broaden theatre audiences, especially now that Broadway is closed down. When theatre reopens and Broadway reopens, we're going to have to really fight for people to want to go back to theatres and to want to spend that much money and things. So sometimes the only way that you will get people to see a new film with a new story and new music that isn't super mainstream is to have a name behind it. You know, The Prom, for example, is such a prime example because The Prom isn't nearly as popular as Dear Evan Hansen. So if they had The Prom with a bunch of unknown actors for mainstream audiences, then people aren't necessarily going to go and see it. But if they know that it's a new musical with James Corden and Meryl Streep in it, then they are more inclined to go to it. And that is just broadening the audience who have an interest in musicals to then go to the theatre. It's a bit like star casting, really. It's like, would you rather have one person who is stunt cast in a role so that a show can continue running for 6 more months, or have an unknown actor who's potentially better and the show have to close because nobody's going to see it? So I feel like that with Dear Evan Hansen in the movie musical, but at the same time I think that they've got quite a nice balance actually, because there seems to be a mixture of people who are from the stage, people who are super big stars, and then people who are kind of young actors just starting. So diversity. Dear Evan Hansen has like a history of being incredibly white and not terribly diverse. The very first original production was completely white. When they took it to workshop, they hired Kristen Lynn Lloyd to play Alana, and Alana has since been played always by a person of colour. We do now have some Zoes, Jareds, Evans of colour. I believe that Heidi Hansen is the only one that potentially has never been played by a person of colour. The thing is that at the end of the day, the show has nothing to do with race, and therefore any of those roles could be played by people from any race. I would have thought everything that happened within the last few months, specifically of people coming up and speaking about injustices, specifically in the Broadway, entertainment business, I would have thought that they would have taken this opportunity to have some more diverse casting choices, because I think people are crying out for it. People want it. There are people of colour who are just as talented and would be just as incredible in these roles as the people who have been cast. I do think that casting directors should be certainly opening things up more. You might say, oh, but they have 2 people of colour in the cast, and Alana's gonna get her own song and everything. It's like, yeah, and they're in supporting roles. Oh my god, the cat's licking his bum. Stop it. You're on camera. You don't want to do that on camera. At least get an OnlyFans. So yeah, I think that's a real missed opportunity there for sure. And then arguably the biggest issue that people have is with age. They're saying that Ben Platt is basically too old to play Evan. I definitely understand where people are coming from. So one of my friends, Mickey, did a video talking about this as well. And he said people are saying that we shouldn't cast Ben Platt as Evan because he's too old. Whereas we're pretending like Glee never happened and Riverdale, and casting older people in their mid-20s to 30s as teenagers isn't the norm, because it is. You 100% watch teen films, the people are a lot older than they're supposed to be, sometimes 10, sometimes 15 years older. Now, I don't normally have an issue with it myself either, but I've spoken about this before. I did a video basically at the beginning of the year talking about Evan Hansen, because when I saw it on Broadway, I didn't connect to the character of Evan. I didn't really care about anybody, and for me, I think it was because the person who was playing Evan looked a lot older. He looked like a man, not as a teenager. When you're watching somebody making these really questionable choices, lying about being friends with somebody who has committed suicide and lying to this family and kind of manipulating these situations, I'm doing a much more abridged version. I will leave a link to that video down below. But basically, I found it hard to look at him and see him as a child. And when I saw the London production, Sam, who was playing Evan, looked like a teenager. I had so much more empathy to him because he looked like so young. And for me, I think the age of somebody doesn't matter if you look that age. Ben Platt does look a lot older. I mean, the thing is that he's had a beard for a very long time and he's played kind of more mature roles. So maybe with styling and things, they can make him look younger and it will be fine. But I do believe that a young Evan is integral to the audience having empathy for him, to understand why he's done these bad things, and it's not just because he's a bad person, but it's because he's got mental health issues and he's misunderstood and he's juvenile and he's just not experienced enough in social cues and, you know, how to actually manage these complex situations. Seeing somebody who looks 30 in the position of lying to this grieving family comes across as manipulative, whereas seeing somebody who looks 17 do that looks like a mistake, not intentional. I don't know if that makes any sense whatsoever, but that's how I feel about it personally. As I say, we don't know. He could look super young in the film, the magic of movies and all that. Who knows? I've said for many years I would love to see Ben Platt play Evan Hansen, and I'm gonna get the opportunity to, so stop licking your bum. Ah! So, to be honest, at the end of the day, am I gonna support the film any less? No. Am I gonna support it 100%? Yes. Am I gonna go and see it in the cinema? Yes. Do I also think they could have maybe made better choices? Yes. I think it could be a really interesting film. I'm really excited for the film. These are just a few of my thoughts, obviously. My friend Mickey, who did that video, he did also say that he wonders about, you know, like in You Will Be Found, when it's like, I can't stop watching this video, 17 years old. He was like, maybe they're gonna cast vloggers for those parts. So listen, Dear Evan Hansen movie people, I know I've just trashed your casting choices for the last 10 minutes, but if you want to cast me, I'll do it! Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. I do hope that you enjoyed it maybe. Please let me know what your thoughts are down below. I'm sure it will be very divisive and we'll all disagree on many things. But you know what? Please, please, please don't start tagging Ben Platt and telling him that he's too old to be playing Evan Hansen. This must be such a dream for him to play a role that he created and nurtured for years on film. That's exciting. So please don't use this opportunity to send hate to any of the people who have been cast, or for that matter to tag people who you think should have been cast, because that is also just as bad. Anyway, let me know what you think. I will see you soon. I love you lots. Bye.